Gopala Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapara Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitangscha Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Hare Krishna Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Tuje Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So dear devotees, we've come to join you, and we've come to join you at a busy weekend in Vila Govinda Ashram, and we're always happy to have busy weekends and busy days, no doubt. So today here is Ekadashi, and devotees are often asking, and actually again, just now asking, what can we take on Ekadashi? What foodstuffs can we take on Ekadashi? And actually, I think we need to make a list, sort of an authorized list of what are the spices we can take and cannot take. But just very generally in Navadip, we didn't need too much of a list because, well, first of all, we didn't cook. We had the cooks there doing the cooking. But secondly, it was very straightforward because it's roots, fruits, milk and milk products, and water. And out of that, nothing red, including carrots and including radish, the big radish, they call mula, but something like, white carrot. That was not taken. So because beetroot is red, that is also not taken. And this was the guideline. And the spicing was ginger. The oil, the only time except for festivals that they used ghee was on Ekadashi, because ghee is not, well, ghee is milk product, so we're there. And the question then comes to which spices. And so we better get that from somebody who's an authority. And actually, our Munindra, Krishnakanta, Shantimoy, Madhurananda here, they're a pretty good authority. They've got experience and they've asked lots of things, and they cook. They cook all the time. So we'll try to do that. And in the meantime, try not to bend the rules to see what can we get away with on Ekadashi. And I know I get into trouble for it, but into trouble in one sense. That is, for those who take, for instance, they don't take rice, they don't take bread so much, but they do take buckwheat all the time. And this buckwheat, if you take it all the time, basically as your rice, then if you just continue on Ekadashi, you're just taking the same thing. You're taking buckwheat, a big plate of buckwheat, which is very, very kind of similar to rice. But technically, it is apparently allowed, even though it's a grain, but it's a grain which is non-seasonal. It's a continuous grain. So there are kind of ways to, have Ekadashi cakes and Ekadashi this and Ekadashi that. But the principle of Ekadashi is simple living, and don't forget the high thinking part, to make our life simple. So anyway, this question already came up. And probably, Kumkum, do you have a list of, like, not bending the rules spices? seeing, you know, like on the limit, but there's ginger, isn't, not sure. Ginger and what else is used? Not chilies, by the way, but in Nabadip, still you find one or two chilies floating around. They just can't leave the chilies.
Mm.
Really, I mean, it's a surprising thing. And chilies are not native to India. In Jagannath Puri, there are no chilies.
Ah,
I mean, in the temple, the offerings to Lord Jagannath, there are no chilies.
mm.
Come, maybe you can help us out a little bit with the safe, not bending the rules, straightforward spicing.
Maharaj, the only one I ever heard that is for sure and for certain good on Ekadashi is ginger, which is, of course, a root. And then I heard that there was an allowance made for cumin, and that was for Bengalis. I think that they were so accustomed to having cumin and everything. And that's all I ever heard, but I believe we got our list originally from you. And
I was looking for it, but me being me, I couldn't find it. Perhaps there is a Facebook an entry on this on the Facebook with the title something like Ekadashi. Perhaps Leela Moipro, do you know how to search those things? Maybe you could just have a look and see if you could find that page. I know Praneshwari, she would pop up with, oh yes, and back to basics number 32 or something. We had discussion on this, and we have had discussion on this, but it's good to come back to it. And the other things, which I think probably all of us here in the gathering know about, the debate about chocolate and coffee and things like this. Well, Gurudev, when he was asked, and debate means that technically, some say, and they come with very good reasoning, it's not a grain, it's not a bean, but it's a fruit or something like this. But Gurudev didn't, or a fruit or a nut, something like this. But Gurudev didn't entertain any, he didn't even listen to any, like, or what technically is it? He said it goes against the spirit of Ekadashi.
yes,
The whole idea of Ekadashi is we offer things to the Lord that He likes and we minimize the things that we like.
yes,
So coffee and chocolate are not actually on Krishna's list of, oh no, sorry, yeah, not exactly, the things which we're making for Krishna. We have to admit they're coming to the devotees. So anyway, Gurudev just quickly, just, with 2 sentences or 1 sentences.
yes. That was always our understanding that it's almost like, I mean, the deity and the Vaishnavas are so merciful that often we'll offer things which may not be on the top of their preferred list, but we offer them and we're taking their remnants. But certain things are just definitely, we'd never like offer coffee to the deity. It
Yeah.
just didn't occur to us that that's something that they would want, nor even tea in India, which drinks so much tea. But we just don't ever offer those on the deity plate. And so Ekadashi is a time for only taking the remnants of what we want to offer to the deity for their pleasure. Just like you were saying, it's a time to think of just what they want. Just enter into that servitor attitude. And
And we shouldn't think what we want on that day.
yes,
Minimum. Okay, anyway, Ekadashi is Ekadashi. So, Leela Moipro, were you successful?
I found some classes, but I didn't find the document that the list. that Tukum Didi was saying. But yeah, I'm looking. I'm looking.
Okay. Anyway, I have a pen and paper, and I've made a note or two. All right. So, dear devotees, here we are, and we're happily with visitors. We're happy with pilgrims, whatever we might like to say, coming and going through at Vila Govinda Ashram. And I was quite surprised to understand that just last week I wasn't even here. I was in London, and coming back to Vila Govinda, it's like instantly coming home, and you just don't feel like you've been away anywhere. But I was reminded yesterday, oh, but last Saturday, because yesterday was here was Saturday, but you weren't here for the program last Saturday. And I said, well, where was I? And they said, oh, you were in London for 2 weekends. Oh, okay. So, I came back only on Monday. So anyhow, the ashram here is quite lively with devotees coming and going. And also today, devotees are coming and going. And I believe we have, because she was due to arrive in the evening yesterday, Jamuna Priya. So Jamuna Priya, who's Gurudev, like personal assistant, the head of the personal assistants for looking after, in particular, like his medicines and many things in regard to Gurudev's like daily living life. And several devotees, certainly several devotees, and were engaged and helped and did various aspects. But Jamuna was quite principal, and she's now a working lady. She's got a job with the government up in either Southern Oregon or Northern California. So she's only got limited holidays, but she's managed to make it to Europe this time. So she's one of the devotees who's coming and going. Nadia Priya from Ukraine, she came by 3 buses and a train to come here for 2 days, and then she's got a train and 3 buses to go back. And Muktinath Prabhu, also from Ukraine, but living in Bangkok. And we said of him, after just a couple of days he was here, and said, actually, we think you live in Vila Govinda and you work in Bangkok. This was our feeling, because he fits in. So anyway, this is a little bit of news from here, and active things taking place with, anyway, yes, other people have come, relatives of devotees, and they're staying just nearby and attending happily the programs. And here we are, we're aware that whatever is done in the world also, we hope it gives a little inspiration for the rest of the world too. And certainly when we see programs taking place, and we see Harinam Sankirtan and so many things going on in other countries, even distant places, it gives energy to know that the world, the devotional world, is going on happily. Hare Krishna. And Abhinava Sundar Prabhu, and yes, they were here, Abhinava Sundar and Kali Kadamba, they should have just arrived in Sweet Lake City, Salt Lake City. So that is also good. And they've taken some books over to that side. And so these 2 new books which have come, which is why we were in London, they've taken some books, they're in Salt Lake City. And so they have a limited supply. Maybe somebody who wants the books should let them know. And some are coming your way to Brazil. So Anu Krishna, Leelamoy, good English readers, good English speakers. Leelamoy is practicing, Anu Krishna practiced. So these books are there. So so Abhinava and Kelly, they just went that side. All right, so some news. Rupanuga Prabhu we heard from last time, very enthusiastic about Japan's culture and how close they seem to be to becoming devotees. So let a tsunami, Japan is famous for the tsunami that hit it several years ago. Let there be another tsunami in Japan, a Japan of Hare Katha and Sankirtan. And my Eshwari Devirasi, the spring has come to your home, and I know I owe you a little line or two. I owe a few people a little line or two. But we will catch up in due course of time. Yes, so would anyone like to share some news? Nityananda Ram Prabhu, there in Mayapur, there in India. He's our link to India today, in South Africa, Florida, California, and different places. And yes, Priyanana's got a hand up. Priyanana, blessing us with your hand.
Dandavat to everyone. Just some short news from Lachta. We just saw off Srila Bhakti Amrita Mahavir Maharaj, and today also Prithu Prabhu is leaving for the south of Russia. They are going to make some yagi and give some sannyas to a couple of people. And today we, although it's Ekadashi, but it was a little bit pre-planned, and we had picnic, but it's devotional picnic. We hope they're going to do some, I don't know, some Haranam Sankirtan on the shore of the bay of Finland, and just to be with the devotees, with the guests, and take some Ekadashi Prasadam. And what else? And summer festivals are coming. So this is gonna be the yoga day this month. It's in collaboration with the Indian embassy. So that's also another opportunity to preach and to be with the book stand and to sing Haranam Sankirtan. So life's going on. And I'm also happy to see like what's going on in your locations. And
And yes, we're happy to hear of the mysterious sannyas ceremonies that are going to take place. But these are taking place, yes, in Abkhazia, correct? Yeah. And happily, should we give the news after their sannyas or before their sannyas? Who is taking sannyas?
This is one of our devotees, two of our devotees actually. I don't know, is it okay to say before?
Okay, maybe we wait until afterwards, so we see. But how are they going from Ukraine?
Well, just yesterday they discussed that maybe it's going to be virtually, so to say.
Ah, right.
But I don't know. It's like Prithu said, maybe you can sit and near our virtual fire. I mean, like to start with, it's hard to figure out how to do the procedure because like so many people do it themselves, but then when they give advice, it's all different advice.
Okay, I think then we'll hold this news back until it actually happens, because now my mind is also thinking, how is all this going to take place? So let it happen, and then we'll give a little news. But positive and progressive, this is always the theme. Hare Krishna.
And I think, Maharaj, then in our age, we see so many initiations being given by Skype or by Zoom. So I think maybe now it's just like, the pure intention of giving sannyas is left and the rest is technicalities, something like this. I don't know.
Let's see how it all works out. Yes. Yeah. It may be. And Nityananda Ram Prabhu there in Mayapur, correct?
Dandava Pranam Maharaj, Dandava Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances to all the dear Vaishnavas here from Mayapur Dham. Very happy I have been for the last 8 months here living in Mayapur. Going frequently to Jal Mandir in Navadvip for festival, for Guru Dev. Few days ago on Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj, there was some devotee here, a team from Ukraine, Lila Sundar Prabhu and his wife, and other Chintamani also. We make a beautiful festival in honor of Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj. Very nice festival in his house. We talk a lot about all the glories of Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj. Well, here in Mayapur Dam, now we are in a little summer, starting the summer, a little bit hot. You know better than me how is the weather here in West Bengal. Now no much devotees, not too much Western devotees, but a lot also. Like this morning in Mongol art in the Canas, it was thousands of people, special people from Calcutta come weekends, thousands of people from Calcutta saw the temple is full. Today, many yagyas, Lord Nishinha Yagya is going on every day. Many activities. Mayapur is full of activities. What I like here is that every day you go out, you have a beautiful place to go. You go to many temples, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Temple, Gaudiya Math, you go to Yoga Pit. And one of my favorite places is Rajpur Temple, Lord Jagannath Mandir, who is self-manifested deities. So, well, the news are that the project, remember Maharaj, I was doing about Trimurti, is almost ready. We make a little opening 2 months ago, but I was waiting to finish all the details of the house. So this house will be open for all the devotees to come here to Mayapur and glorify the divinity of our Guru Varga, Srila Siddha Maharaj, Srila Govinda Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, all together. I will be initially up till October here, and I will think we'll start the preaching program and the book distribution in a month. Now I had to go a little bit out India for visa, every situation of visa. But I think in a month we'll be starting the Trimurti project in a fact. There are many people. I really find that a lot of devotees here in Mayapur Dam from any ISKCON, Gaudiya Math, they are too much.
Uh-oh. Oh, well, India is still India. The internet comes and goes. Oh, you're there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
You froze for a while.
Internet is still India. Yes, I found out that as a lot of people, hankering to know to have the connection with Srila Guru Maharaj and Govinda Maharaj to his books. And I also find that people who is really reading the books very deeply. Many special devotees from Argentina, from Latin America. I found many people who are very happy reading different books of Srila Guru Maharaj and Govinda Maharaj. So our idea here is to establish a place where the devotees of any different groups can come and have the opportunity to read the books, like a book club and a kirtan, to establish the mood of the kirtan of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, because it's very special and particular, the mood, the songs are singing Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math. So by your blessing, Maharaj, you will guide me, give me all too much blessing with all concession or Trimurti. Well, I can tell you, to build a house in India is something I never have been doing. And I have been through many situations every day. One people come, make something, and the other group come tomorrow to do their job and destroy the other thing. It's amazing. But after 8 months, 9 months, I actually have been finished. I will share later all this the details, but I'm very happy to stay here for you, for all the devotees. Any situation you need here in Mayapur Dam, Navadvip Dam, please let me know. I will be very happy to have the service. Actually, one of the projects I have here, because there are many projects coming on from my side, will be the parikrama for the devotees who come to the area of Navadvip Dam to make the parikrama. We get some transportation, we get some guest house, we have all the infrastructure ready to camp, all the devotees coming for pilgrimage. Anytime, Kartik, also in Gaur Purnima time, or anytime you come, we will give you all the support for the parikrama, going to the holy place, the transportation and the prasad and everything. That is part of the seva we want to do by your blessing, Maharaj.
Jai. The grace of Srila Gurudev and Srila Guru Maharaj. They've given us the guidance for how to do the kirtans, how to do the parikrama, how to lead our lives, in fact. Okay, Nityananda Prabhu, many thanks. Grazie mille. Oh, in Spanish.
Thank you, Maharaj.
I forgot the Spanish. Now I'm forgetting Spanish too. Little whatever little I knew. Jai Gurudev, Jai Guru Maharaj. All right. Oh, we've got a whole gathering too, just close to Mayapur, over the Bay of Bengal and at Meirim near Chiang Mai. We have a whole gathering there in Vila Govinda Ashram. So, we've got a rare occasion to have Sudarshan Prabhu and Rai Kishori, as well as the resident pillars. I see the wooden pillars holding up the building, but the devotional pillars holding up the devotional programs there. We've got Rai Kishori and Sudarshan Prabhu, or Sudarshan Prabhu, Rai Kishori. We've got two who may like to give us a little bit of news and inspiration in the line of back to basics.
Well, Dandavats Maharaj, Dandavats to all the very start. We just walked in off a rice field, so we're walking around. It's beautiful to see all the devotees, all the faces in the Zoom call, and it was kind of amazing walking around the land here and Govinda Farm, Govinda Dham, and I think yesterday we were at the temple in Gupta Govardhan, day before yesterday. So it was very nice to see all the devotees there from all over the world and reconnect with Srimati Bhakti Lalita Devi and the other devotees with Srila Goswami Maharaj as well. Very briefly. And we're coming from Salt Lake City. Program is going on. Devotees staying in the temple. Sripad Janardhan Maharaj will be coming there at the end of May, along with Abhinava Sundar Prabhu, who everyone knows, and Keli Kadamanana. What can we say? We're just super happy to be here. Feel very blessed to always be in the association of Krishna Priya Prabhu, Krishna Priya Didi, Paramananda Prabhu, and of course Ram Sundar. We're all tolerating proper Vaishnava. So just kidding. Oh, Leela Moy Prabhu.
Dandavats Maharaj, Dandavats to all devotees. Every time I jump out and Kumkum Didi's there, and so many devotees, please accept my pranams. Really, it's always so beautiful. Anytime, whether it's online or whether it's in person, to hear the devotees' voices and to feel all of these different kinds of attempts, and to see that there's different inspirations that are coming to different people from some other world, really, and that there's service that's being carried on, and faith is continuing on, and service is continuing on, and it's very hopeful, actually. And I mean, I really do feel that there are these different doorways to Gurudev's house kind of placed all over the world. You know, we're trying to give our lives in response. It's like we can't just say thank you for something like that. You know, it's we feel some kind of home feeling, and I can speak for myself. It feels like more than I deserve. I can say it feels like that. So some kind of response of try to reciprocate with that feeling of home that Gurudev made. Some unusual feeling. And it's very rare, actually, and we should remember that it's rare. Sometimes we get a little bit comfortable or we get used to things, but it's actually quite something special to be treasured and to be remembered and to be worshipped. Actually, that feeling that there's some shelter and that there's some service and some sincere person in each location is, you know, there's always a core of people in each location that are continuing on, like you know, that very famous like Greek tale where there's Sisyphus is carrying the world on his shoulders, and he's going up the hill and he has this huge boulder that he's carrying. So they call it what is it? It's like a Sisyphean task, or sorry, Sisyphean task. There's like a devotee in each temple, or a crew of people in each place that they're carrying some serious responsibility, and like to recognize that they're kind of like forging their way forward with that task, and like we can celebrate that, like, you know, the embracing of responsibility, right? It's very beautiful, and you know, hopefully we can try and help with that task however we can. But I always notice that every place has a core of people that are really kind of doing something supernatural, and the feeling that comes really is that Vaishnavas are very merciful, and that's a miracle, because they're extending themselves, and that's a miracle, despite all of the things that they're exposed to of possible, you know, all kinds of misbehavior and misconception and strange things that they're expressing their heart. That's amazing. So to try and like reciprocate with that is exciting. It's a good adventure. So Dhanavats to you all. Dhanavats to Maharaj. It's my joy and honor to see your faces.
Jai. And if anyone would like to know just a little history, so a history lesson, that is that Sweet Lake City, formerly known as Salt Lake City in the United States, didn't have any of our family of devotees there, as far as I know. Some you can correct me. But for their work and for various reasons, then Sudarshan Prabhu and Rai Kishori, who you just heard from each of them just now, they moved to Salt Lake City. And then by them being in Salt Lake City, then one by one, two by two, like this, then devotees moved to Salt Lake City as a way to have association, and it became very favorable then to make a center, because devotees are naturally coming together. And so in their devotional life, they have shown for us to notice and them not to notice maybe so much, that wherever you get a devotee, then magnetically other devotees automatically come. So all credit to Sudarshan Prabhu and his family.
And just to jump in, Marj, we really don't feel like we can take credit for anything. I mean, even at one point in time when we were living there, it felt very like peculiar that people were moving, and we thought, oh, Mahaprabhu is actually, he has his own plan and we're just trying to become part of that plan. So I wish we could take more credit, but there's so many things independent that are moving on.
They're too humble to admit that they are pillars of the Sweet Lake.
Oh, very good.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Krishna Priya Devi Rasi. We're all looking forward to hearing a word from the Thai devotee.
Dhanavad Maharaj. What can I say? I really love listening, Maharaj. The most I love it, not just speaking.
It's a virtue.
I'm just happy to, you know, all the time devotee come here. I don't know, it's feeling from my heart. It's like always like family gatherings, come visit. And I always hear, always, because sometimes we are alone here and we don't hear any like Harikatha or things. And every time the devotees come, I overhear something, you know. That's only like benefit. It's a lot of mercy. And I learn things more and more from hearing from many devotee gatherings coming to visit. I think it's mercy from Mahaprabhu, mercy from Guru. That let me have this opportunity to like take care of them also, and then I can hear things. That's how I'm very, very like happy. And when they come here.
And you say I have the opportunity to take care of them, but this is what is seva. Seva is an automatic thing that, okay, devotees are here. We want to look after them. So it's not that looking after the devotees is a small thing. It's actually sweet and happy that you've got that tendency in your heart to do so, to look after the devotees. And really, I mean, this is the life of devotees, is to look after devotees.
Yeah, Maharaj, nothing else to do, only do seva, Maharaj.
There you are, beautifully expressed. Jai Krishna Prabhu. Okay, we will hear from Paramanandu in a moment, but not until we've heard from Ram Sundar Prabhu.
I'm a tripod, Maharaj. I don't really talk.
Krishna Drishti Pata Hetu.
Ram Sundar Prabhu. You know you're going to be asked to say something, so now is your opportunity to say it.
Well, a little. Anyways, this morning I was listening to a lecture of Srila Goswami Maharaj, and it was about Gundicha margin. And I like the point about that pastime that they're doing one like clean. They do two cleans, and the first one is like, you know, a very rough, like get everything out, you know, like a general clean. And then the second clean is a more refined and sophisticated clean. And it's referencing like, you know, first you become pure, you know, you have some first cleaning, but then there needs to be more refinement done, like a second cleaning, a second briefing sort of thing. And always with many devotees around, it's always a lot of refinement. And that's what I can say.
Awesome.
Since these devotees are around, and it's always more and more refinement going on. So.
What about the third cleaning? There was a third.
I'd say
Really?
their hearts.
Reveal.
Yeah, you can tell me the third. I
Let
heard.
me help with this situation. Tripod.
I'm just teasing Ram Sundar. There were actually three. Anyhow, Maharaj, I was not supposed to. I was happily a tripod holding the iPad and listening to everyone. But I can just add, I recently remembered the verse that I have learned from you. I mean, the verse came from Kapila Muni, but I have learned it from you in a dream. You just came, you said, you must remember this verse, this is the verse. And then I woke up and I remembered the verse, and it's a beautiful verse. And then later I find out, as listening to Gurudev and Guru Maharaj, they're quoting it a lot. It's about Prasangam Mamavirya Samnido, Bhavanti Hrit Karnara Sayana Katha. This is really a fantastic, this is the way to get bhakti. To stick to the company, those who are enjoying the heartfelt discussions about Krishna and about devotees of the Lord. This is the way to success. So I'm just trying to acquire some faith in the company of the devotees. And it's always a great excitement to have my God brothers and God sisters here. And really, whenever we talk, really, it's difficult to stop talking. And it's very difficult to do a joke. Almost impossible. We have some job to do, but once we got together, it's really just to start talking about Gurudev, the devotees, the Lord, the Mahaprabhu, the Siddhanta. And that will be the, what is it, 80% of all. And then we're like, okay, let's do it. So let's try tomorrow to do some work, actually to do some work. But it's so difficult, I'm finding out.
Thank God Rai's here to keep us on
Oh
track.
my God.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
She's the main instigator of those talks, by the way.
Oh God. Hare Krishna.
Anyhow,
Very nice for them this morning.
by Dandavats.
And
Yeah, you go.
Anukamishiti.
Oh yeah, Anukamishiti. Well, you had to. Here you go. Yes, go ahead. So the verse goes, Satat prasangam mama virya samido bhavanti hri karnara sayana katata josanata swapavarga vartani shraddha ratir bhaktir. Can we have some illuminations? Anukramishati, please, from Sudarshan Prabhu.
Well, I mean, very simple. Anukramishati means step by step. So there's continuous progressive realization and progress by being in the association of such devotees and hearing such talks. And that type of continuous feeling of progression, that's the internal navigation. As Guru Maharaj says, there's some feeling of your thirst being quenched, and to come into awareness and following of that feeling, and then to feel that progressive step-by-step movement forward. Anukramishati, very positive and hopeful. Beautiful verse.
Yes, Guru Maharaj used to say natural development.
Natural development, yes. Yeah.
Modest natural growth.
Modest natural growth.
Gradual.
Modest natural growth. It's very, very encouraging, actually, this sentence of modest natural growth. Not, you know, what did Guru Maharaj say? Like the most enthusiasm for the least service. And so like there's no necessity. There's a sentence from Guru Maharaj. He said, your modesty will not be the reason that you are stopped from growth. Something like that. It's not like an exact quote. It means like there's no necessity to aggressively push yourself into the next service. The very job of the upper world is to observe your service and pull you to the next thing. And so your job is to work on your own self with you know, these like very important qualities that are actually quite mysterious, right? Humility is so mysterious, and it has the ability to attract the attention from the upper world. And they're saying you take that most humble service with enthusiasm, and they have their nature is there to reciprocate with that. So there's no need for aggressively pushing yourself into some other space than what you are called to. That calling will come organically and naturally and more beautifully than we can calculate with our mind or imagine, right? Because we're coming into contact with something that's greater than ourselves. So what they want to do is more beautiful than what our plans are. And it's very, very beautiful. And it's really like an inversion from a kind of consciousness, which is like just rampant, right? Which is like acquire, control, consume. And I'm going to do the same with my spiritual life. And so this idea of Guru Maharaj, I find it like very affectionate, modest, natural growth with an affection and softness of heart to try and take whatever's in front of us in a humble way and try to become a contributor wherever we are. And then see what happens from that instead of having to push in. And yeah, I think there's like, we can spend our whole life and hopefully the next one and the next one meditating on that.
Hare Krishna.
And I can add another Lindbergh contribution, if you like, on the theme. That is Paramananda, he mentioned about how the most important, that important thing of the association of devotees, and when you're with devotees, then you get that enthusiasm also. And just to let you know that yesterday evening, then Sri Lekha Devidasi, also the Lindbergh family, the Lindbergh tribe, Sweet Lake City, then she was doing questions and answers with the Ukraine devotees. And she, you know, how you can read something, but when it's coming from the devotee, then we can not only hear the words, but we can like feel that. And so she was expressing about if you don't have any hunger in the material world, but if you associate, if you're with somebody who's talking about food and you're hearing about these chutneys and these this and this, but in Sri Lekha's, like particularly energetic and enthusiastic way, she's saying, then you didn't have any appetite, but you're hearing about all this from somebody who's got this kind of an appetite for food, then you become hungry. And so she used this as the example that this is actually when we're with devotees. We're hearing all this enthusiasm, we're hearing these wonderful topics, the descriptions of the taste, the flavors of all these different departments of devotional service. It's not just one thing that we do in devotional life. And then we also hanker for that. Oh, yes, we want that taste.
Yeah.
She gave a very lively class, by the way. I'm sure you all know, you must know.
She always does.
Yes. That. Beautiful.
What bird is that making those sounds?
A bird.
A bird, okay.
Remember?
3
Sorry.
million, one of the, sorry.
Oh,
Remember a story how Goswami Maharaj was asking one of our residents in Navadvip, oh, what is that bird? And the answer was, a bird. Okay, how about that bird? It's a bird. But the kokil, of course, everyone knows kokil.
Yeah.
Okay, now we know who is questioning, who is giving the answer.
Well, one of Govinda Maharaj's immediate servitors, Maharaj.
Oh, okay.
Retain the name.
Was
You
it
know,
me?
the cocktail is
Was
so
it me?
No, it's a Bengali Maharaj, even though you're more than a half Bengali by association. But no, it was a Bengali servitor. Answering in Bengali, which is a pakshi, I think that's the word.
A paki.
A paki. Paki.
Yeah.
Paki. That's a paki. That's not a paki.
I was gonna say, the kokil has become like famous everywhere, even people who haven't been to the tropics necessarily. This morning I was on the phone with Krishna Mohini and the birds, are singing. She said, oh, kokil is happening. I can hear the kokil. It's like all those tapes. Guru Maharaj then.
And that's why it's good to keep an eye really on the Sanskrit most of what we understand is actually in the Bengali when we're reading, as Krishnadas Kaviraj does. He explains most of the Sanskrit verses in Bengali afterwards. But that Sad Goswami Astakam is in Sanskrit, but it mentions kokil, but we have in the sort of standard translation, cuckoo, I think. Something like that. No, it is, and there are many translations which the devotees who were helping with the translations or translating the songs, they're giving some idea, but like you said, they're in the West. That time they didn't know what a kokil is, so they're hearing cuckoo rather than kokil, and then writing that way. So it's good to keep an eye on the translations, on the original as well, and always there's something a little sweet about the original, especially, when we know some Bengali, and I think, those who read Chaitanya Charitamrita regularly, surely, by now we've got quite a lot of words which we understand, and we may not know the grammar and get it all perfect, but when you get those words in the Chaitanya Charitamrita verses, it's so sweet, and there's some added mood, because we've heard Gurudev talk about Anandam and Chamatkar and all these different words. And so they've got some added weight rather than only the word of amazing or happy.
Yes.
So there's also Maha Chamatkar.
There is also, it does come up. And Gurudev, by the way, about the kokil, Gurudev had a standard issue, means on the phone at that time, I don't know what the brand of the phone was, but on his phone, he had, when he got the mobile phone, so the very later, in fact, the phone he had up until the very end of his pastimes, his manifest pastimes here, he had one of the options on the phone was the kokil. And he had his ringtone when somebody would call, it was the kokil, which is very.
And one time in the morning in Bangkok, we have this season of kokils in Bangkok. Really, they just go mad singing in the morning. And then the phone rang. and the coquilles were singing at the same time. That was something. I was so happy. He did not pick up the phone right away. He listened for a while.
Which is the phone and which is the coquille? Yeah.
Beautiful.
I remember being in Bangkok. That must have been November. The year before last. I went with Muktinath Prabhu and was in Bangkok. So that's November. But the coquilles were singing. So they've become city birds. They've lost the routine of the country because really they are singing in the springtime generally. And they're calling for a mate. This is what Gurudev is saying. Where's my wife? Where's my wife? But they have a season, but in Bangkok, well, I guess they don't have a season. Affected by the city, by association, just see. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. It's getting complicated.
And I go to the gallery. Yes, Pavan Krishna was with us. Pavan and Kamala's come back from Japan, I expect. And your assistant in woodworking creation in Bangkok, Muktinath Prabhu, he's here for 10 days in Vila Govinda Ashram. And difficult to let him go back, but we'll have to let him go back, I suppose. That he's come for his holiday break, he's come over here to Vila Govinda, and everyone's happy with him. Hare Krishna. And yesterday we heard how Leela Moy Prabhu, everyone's happy with him in Brazil, and he's going to come here on his way to Thailand. So he's going to come here 2 months before going to Thailand. And the devotees in Brazil, they're sad to give him up and to let him go to Thailand. There's Anu Krishna showing her tears. Hare Krishna. And Kumkum Devirasi, please excuse, we somehow went around the world and we've come back to the United States of America. California, where actually it's from California that the Zoom back-to-back to basics began in its form. And it's from Thailand, right there at Govinda Farm, where the actual broadcast was first began. So the back-to-back to basics go to simultaneously, online, go back simultaneously to California and to Mayrim or Chiang Mai, Govinda Farm. So we've got 2 original source of back-to-back to basics online. And before we had back-to-back to basics in India, and they were happy back-to-back to basics. We'd go in the middle floor of the Seva Ashram beside Govinda Kund, and we just tried to do what we have done and probably need to revisit again from back to basics. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, because all those, and more, because those early ones we were trying to revise and learn. Okay, the 10 offenses to the holy name, 10 offenses to the holy Dham, the 6 bad things, 6 senses that we have to control, the 6 bad things which will destroy our devotion, 6 good things which will ensure the success of our devotion, plus. So this is where the back to basics began. And we were very happy to keep revisiting and still always keep revisiting these basic things in our lives. So Kumkum Diri, you are at one of the base as English is a very odd language. Well, every language has got different, the same sound, different meanings. You are at the base of the online back to basics. Kumkum Diri, a few words kindly.
Dandavat Maharaj, Dandavat for all the devotees here. Actually, I'm very base. That
Hare
is
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
But I'm so happy to see all of these devotees together and here, especially thinking about being in Thailand and all the grand association there, or being in Sweet Lake City, or by coincidence, Sri Lanka Didi was just texting me while you were talking, so I was telling her that her name had just been mentioned here, and it's all such a very happy thing, and I'm noticing how it's faith is so strongly increased because of all the devotees' commitment, and to be around devotees whose own faith is so strong, it just inspires us. But it's not just philosophy that convinces us of faith, but the affection of the devotees and their enthusiasm. And interspersed with all of that is the sweetest philosophy of all. And so to know people who are very dedicated to participating in this divine realm. And one thing that was always very true about San Jose is hearing about technology all the time. In fact, Zoom headquarters is about 1 mile from where the books of Guru Maharaj were published. And so it was always a hope of mine that we would take a Harinam party to their headquarters and let them see what it is we're doing with their technology, because that was very significant. But the idea that all of this kata is going on the ethereal level, it's all dependent on this coming through the ether. I believe that Srila Gurudev spoke about this point. Is that correct? That the subtle nature, I mean, it's closer and closer. So does that have any effect with, I mean, it's our experience that we're benefited, that we can still have Harikata and the association of devotees, although we're not physically together. But is it even more available because it's on the ethereal level is even closer to the spirit soul? Do you know what I'm trying to ask here?
Yes.
I believe I heard that Srila Gurudev would speak about this sometime, like to be careful of what it is you're putting into the ether. And so also it seems to me that our Harikata on this level, having to be separated, but in this level is especially potent.
And it's a wonderful observation, and I never knew it before until now, that the Zoom headquarters is 1 mile, which is 1.3 kilometers or something, for those who are in metric. Anyhow, is a mile from where the books were published. So I think some answer already came to you. You already gave some answer to your own statement, because that is interesting. And also an interesting idea, and this is maybe something at the Govinda Mela that could be proposed. Let's go and do Harinam Sankirtan in San Jose, because I know that people are very few and far between, that buildings and cars, are very evident, but the people do exist. And it's the people who've made it all work. It's it was called Silicon Valley, wasn't it? But I know now that, Silicon Valley now, also Bangalore, they call Silicon Valley, even though it's not a valley, it's a mountain. No, not a mountain, but it's a hill. Interesting.
That area around the San Jose, Silicon Valley, the original name, like 100 years ago, was all orchards. And so the way they referred to it then was Valley of Heart's Delight. That was very nice to think of too. It was still the Heart's Delight, that all of this publications came from there.
That's a beautiful name.
Yeah. Even more so than apricots and peaches, which is what they meant.
Valley of Heart's Delight.
Yes.
Okay, I'm writing that down because it may be helpful for some question that has come up recently. Okay. Hare Krishna. Oh, yes. And I had, before I said that, I had something else to say. Slipped away. It slipped away just now. But for that area. Hare Krishna. Govinda, Govinda. Oh, yes. How things. Oh, yes. I know what I was going to say. Just before, the Nityananda Ramprabhu was saying, oh, I go regularly to the Jol Mandir. But I have to think of Jol Mandir. But the Jol Mandir, that's now what our temple has become known as. But of course, it wasn't like that. It was a Koladanga mat. Koladanga mat. When you came off the train, you want to take a rickshaw, you're anywhere you ask. Koladanga mat, which means the temple which is in that Kola Deep. It became known as the Koladanga mat. That is where it is. So that also reminds us of Kola Deep, the island of the 9 islands of Navadip, which is especially a special place because where the Lord's most magnanimous pastimes took place. But now, due to the fame of and the unique physically, you can say, appearance that we have a temple in the middle of Govinda Kund. I mean, having a temple in the middle of a lake is quite extraordinary, quite rare. And then we have the temple there now of Giriraj in the middle of the lake, which is also Mahaprabhu's pastimes temple, but he comes out from time to time, like Chandan Yatra, and we have a little hope that still he's able to come out during Chandan Yatra, which is right now, it's his period right now, the hot time as we hear. So in Puri, that Chandan Yatra festival takes place, but in Navadip in Govinda Kund also, some Chandan Yatra celebration and remembrance is taking place. But that Govinda Kund and the temple in the center now has become like very famous and is known as the water temple, Jal water Mandir. So Jal Mandir. So now I don't know if the rickshaw drivers will know where to take you if you ask for Koladanga mat. Quite quickly it's now become Jal Mandir. So names do change with time. Hare Krishna. Yes, Pavan Krishna Prabhu. Any short news? Dandavat in Bangkok. Looking for the yes, Prabhu.
Dandavat, everyone. I don't know, Maharaj. I have many things to do like next month. Just now my head filled with this thoughts. And I'm just happy to join this Zoom meeting. And here, as Krishna Priya said, I'm always very happy to hear Krishna Katha is so heartfelt feeling.
And we are happy to see you, Pavan Krishna Prabhu, and we're happy to give you an embrace also.
Thank you so much.
And your good assistant for all your responsible duties. He'll come back soon. We'll let him go.
When will he come today?
I don't know. I'm not sure the date. He's here. I heard he's here for 10 days. So whenever it's 10 days after he left, it must be soon. I think he leaves on Thursday. So whether he reaches you on Thursday, probably not. So back for the weekend. Okay, Prabhu. I can't hear any kokils though, even though you're in Bangkok.
Yeah, you told about kokils, and I understand them, why they have broken schedule, kind of.
Well, Bangkok sort of doesn't, it's got a different season because it's got lights, it's got concrete, it's got all these things. Got air conditioning. Maybe the kokils find the air conditioner. Okay, dear devotees, it's time to continue. At least here it's certainly time to continue. our day goes on, your day goes on, and reflecting also, both here on the Zoom and on Facebook. We're so happy to be with you all, and those who see the recorded version. And let us all continue steadily. Let us remember Rupa Goswami's guidance in Upadeshamritam, which we mentioned before, just to keep on going, taking the holy name, and a miracle, miraculously, amazingly, some transformations will come. We just have to have faith, continue, and we know there's nothing better to do. So if there's nothing better to do, then let us do the best thing. Chant Hare Krishna, serve the devotees, try to follow nicely the guidance that's been given, and be happy. Hare Krishna, who came to join us with a hat on?
You caught me, Maharaj. Dhanavad, Damayanti.
Damayanti, yes, Govinda, Govinda, welcome. You've caught us just at the last moment. We were just saying our goodbyes and just about to say our jais. So Dandavat, happy you've dropped in. You've dropped in just at this time. Kumkum Didi will get you up to speed, as the Americans say, with what we've been chatting about. All right. So Jai Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Srila Guru Maharaj ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Jai, and all the assembled devotees assembled in so many places here, the assembly in Govinda Farm, the assembly in Uberlandia, the assembly in California, and everyone's assembled together on the Zoom screen. And maybe one by one, with Maheshwari and Sevarupa, she's got her family sleeping nearby. And Dana, Gangalila, Priya Bhakta, all the way over in Australia. And he was also in the Ukraine Zoom last night. And to each of you, and to Priya Nana, yes, right beside that huge tower, I forget its name, in St. Petersburg, so that when you fly into St. Petersburg, you've got a big tower that shows you where our temple is. And if you look, you can see, oh, there's Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat in St. Petersburg. So to all of you in all the different places where you are, here and on Facebook I couldn't see today because for some reason our second internet's not working. So we're relying on just one connection. Banchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Jai Srila Bhaktiranjan Madhusudana Maharaj ki Jai.
Wishing you all a successful Seva week, to chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Dandavat. Govinda, Govinda, Gopala, Gopala, see you soon, hear more news, all good things. Jainate.